No matter how fantastic a film is, none of them are perfect. Even ones deserving of a 5-star rating can have flaws, albeit not as many as other movies. The filmmakers can try to make their stories as tight as possible, but there's always going to be those inevitable details that slip through the cracks as the project makes its way to the screen. Especially after multiple viewings of a personal favorite, there will be a basic plot point or question that needs clearing up. Not everything is apparent in the film, and sometimes fans have to look to other sources to learn everything. Here are 10 answers to movie mysteries you've been waiting for. The Dark Knight Rises. After Heath Ledger tragically passed away prior to the premiere of The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan decided that he would not use the Joker in the sequel. While that decision was understandable, many thought it was odd that the character wasn't even mentioned by name during The Dark Knight Rises. He was such a huge part of the franchise that he couldn't have just fallen off the face of the earth. According to the novelization, Joker is the lone inmate at the rebuilt Arkham Asylum, spending his days in solitary confinement with no one to play with. It's a sad end for a memorable character, but one we would have loved to see.
Whoa, hold on, wait to cross.
Finding Nemo. Audiences everywhere fell in love with Finding Nemo's Dory, the forgetful blue tang fish who's now the main character of her own film. One of the more puzzling things about her is that Dory remains unfazed by the group of sharks, even though she has every reason to be terrified. As for why she's so calm around them, this summer's Finding Dory may have an answer. New character Destiny is a whale shark and was a childhood friend of Dory's, so Dory has been acquainted with sharks before. The trailers also show Destiny speaking whale, which could be why Dory knows the language.
Marty.
Back to the Future. Doesn't it seem weird that the teenage Marty McFly is best friends with the elderly Doc Brown? The film never mentions how they cross paths, but co-writer Bob Gale has an explanation. Marty had always heard that Doc Brown was a crazed lunatic and decided one day he was going to see for himself how dangerous Brown could be. When he arrived at Brown's lab, Marty was fascinated by everything he saw, and Brown loved that someone thought he was cool, so he brought Marty in to help around with experiments and the dog, Einstein. A dynamic duo was born all because a kid wanted to snoop around. Taxi Driver. For years, people have thought the ending of Taxi Driver is inconsistent with the darker nature of the film, as Travis Bickle is hailed as a hero for saving Iris. Some believe that the final moments all take place in his head, a dream that sees him writing his own legacy. Clues that help support this are Travis's previously destroyed TV, seen intact, and a letter from Iris's parents that appears to be in Travis's handwriting. Writer Paul Schrader says that since the whole movie is set inside Travis's head, it's not meant to be realistic. How's that for a mind bender? Citizen Kane. Hailed as the greatest motion picture ever made, some believe that Citizen Kane has one of cinema's most unforgivable plot holes. The whole story is set in motion after Charles Foster Kane says Rosebud as his dying word, but nobody was in the room to hear him speak it. One look at the screenplay reveals someone was. The script places Kane's butler Raymond in the room at the time of Kane's death. Only the actor playing him was not in the shot featured in the final film. If only Orson Welles had used a different angle, he could have spared cinephiles a debate spanning over several decades.
You have been well trained, my young apprentice.
Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. The original trilogy featured dark-side users, but the term Sith was never spoken on screen until the first prequel. Polar opposite of the Jedi, they don't have a full army or an entire order at their disposal, just two. If the Sith were to overthrow the Jedi, why would they only have a master and an apprentice? Per the novelization, the Sith originally did bring as many allies together, before they tore each other apart with their extreme lust for power. Darth Bane, who survived the first Sith purge, was the one who decided there should only be two at the most, which worked quite well until Darth Vader came back to the light.
You're kidding.
Gremlins. Gizmo is one of the cutest characters in all of film, but where did he come from? His origin isn't a necessary component of the movie, but some were probably wondering how Chinese shopkeepers came into possession of Gizmo. According to the novelization, the Mogwai were creatures created by a scientist named Mog Turman, who sent a Mogwai to different planets in an attempt to inspire citizens to be peaceful and kind-hearted. Either Mog Turman had a wicked sense of irony, or honestly didn't know what happened when you fed Mogwai after midnight. It's the opposite of harmony.
Oops. Oops. What does that mean?
Independence Day. One of the most baffling plot holes of all time is when Jeff Goldblum can use a mid-90s Apple computer to hack into the alien mothership. But there is a logical explanation. Area 51 scientists state that the digital age on Earth happened due to studying the alien ship. meaning that human computers were reverse engineered from the extraterrestrial technology. If that's the case, someone with the brains of David Levinson should be able to find a way to program a virus to take down the aliens and save the planet. It may still irritate some sci-fi fans, but there was at least an attempt to provide reasoning. Star Trek. In the 2009 Star Trek reboot, villain Nero has been waiting 25 years to invoke revenge on the Federation. But why did it take him so long to move into action? It doesn't make sense for the Romulans to wait over 2 decades to strike, but luckily there's a perfect explanation as to why. A deleted scene shows that Nero was captured and held in a Klingon prison before he broke his crew out and moved forth on his plan. There's no telling why this was cut from the theatrical cut, but it would have been a nice inclusion to clear things up a bit.
I am so fired.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier. After his old-fashioned costume in the Avengers, Steve Rogers received an upgrade for his uniform in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The modern design was well received by fans, but by the film's end, Cap is wearing his old duds from World War II, stealing them from the Smithsonian. The reasoning for the theft is never given in the theatrical cut, but a deleted scene showed that S.H.I.E.L.D. was tracking the updated costume, so Rogers ditched it to throw them off the scent. Fortunately for him, his original uniform was still in great shape and proved to be just what he needed to get the job done. Those are just some of the movie mysteries that have answers readily available. Are there any we missed? Which ones do you find the most head-scratching? Sound off in the comments below and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more fun videos like this one.